I'm going to tell you a story about an experience I had when I first lived in California out in San Diego. And this occurred when I was living in with my friend and some other friends. And it was about fall of 1983, and I think it was November. And I noticed out in the garden that there was a vast variety of chili peppers, and mostly jalapeno peppers. And I thought it was so beautiful, the different colors, red, yellow, green. I was just like, wow, like there's so many. I was like, what do I do? And the idea occurred to me, why not gather some of the chili peppers, put them in a freezer bag, and freeze them until winter time. And come winter, I would put them in a chili that I would cook. And so I decided to go with that. I gathered some, I put them in a bowl and took them to the house. I scrubbed them, washed them, dry them off. I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? And I decided I was going to cut off the stems and throw the stems in the trash. And I decided why not cut it in half and scoop out all the seeds. And I continued that process, cut the stem off, throw in the trash, take out the seeds, and then throw them in the bowl as they were piling up. And I continued until I noticed something strange. My hands were kind of tingling. It was feeling a little hot. And I was like, okay, let me pause. I went to go wash my hands, and then I came back and I was like, ooh, that burning intensified even more. And it was like, this is uncomfortable. All right, I'm gonna stop. And went back to the sink and washed my hands. I used soap and I was scrubbing so hard. And I dried my hands and put on some lotion, and the burning intensified. Oh my goodness. I was like, oh, let me see. Ah, that's it. I decided that I would get a bowl of ice water. And that's what I did. I went and grabbed a bowl, filled it with ice, poured some water, and I sat there. I was like, oh, yes. This really is the best bowl of ice water. And it was working. So I sat there, and about an hour later, I was still there bored. And I was like, you know what? I think that's enough. So I went back to wash my hands, and I put on the lotion, and it was really on fire now. And I went and washed my hands again and then ran back to the bowl, sat there, and I just waited until my friend came. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I touched some California peppers and I don't know how to alleviate this burning sensation. And my friend's like, I don't know. And as we were talking, I was like, hey, would you mind calling the urgent care and see if you can get some advice from a nurse or whoever is working? And she's like, sure. So she went to go call, and I was like, oh my God, it's been about 3 or 4 hours. My hands in here, they were pruning up like raisins. And I'm just sitting there waiting. And then my friend comes back and she's like, all right, go ahead and try meat tenderizer. And I was like, what? Meat tenderizer? You know, like, like the sternum of some meat? And I was like, all right, whatever. Okay. So I went to my cabinet, grabbed the meat tenderizer, and put it on my hands, and oh my God, it started burning even more. And I was like, terrible idea. I put it back, and I put my hands back in the bowl of ice water. But at this point, it had been like about 5 or 6 hours now, and I was just tired. I had been here all day, and I decided I wanted to go to bed. And you want to know how I got into my bed? Okay, so here is the layout of my bed, and I decided that I was going to lay with my head at the corner of the footboard with a bowl of ice and my hands over my head in the bowl of ice. And again, I was just really tired. I was like, okay, no problem. All right, let's go to sleep. So I went to sleep and I woke up about 12:30 or 1 in the morning, and I was a little sopping wet. And as I opened my eyes, I could notice the burning immediately. I was, nope, nope, forget it. Close your eyes, go back to sleep. And I went back to sleep, but when I finally woke up in the morning, I was sopping wet. And I realized that never again will I cut chili peppers without wearing a rubber gloves. I really learned my lesson.